Narcissism is a mental disorder characterized by a pattern of grandiosity, an intense need for praise and admiration, as well as a lack of empathy toward others. Narcissists believe they are of immense importance and that they possess an inherent superiority. A famous example of narcissism comes from Mary Shelley's 1818 novel Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein is an extreme narcissist, believing he can play God and create life. He sees himself as mentally superior to other people, feeling no one else can understand his genius. He says, "No one can conceive the variety of feelings which bore me onwards, like a hurricane, in the first enthusiasm of success. Life and death appeared to me ideal bounds, which I should first break through, and pour a torrent of light into our dark world. When the monster he creates threatens him by saying, 'I will be with you on your wedding night,' Victor's egotism assumes the threat is all about him. He leaves his bride Elizabeth alone and unprotected while he goes off to confront his creation. Elizabeth is killed by the monster, and Victor realizes too late what the threat really meant. Earlier in the book, when the monster kills Victor's brother William and frames Justine, the governess, for the murder, Victor does not testify or say anything about the real murderer. He fears it will make him look crazy or jeopardize his position in society. While Justine is awaiting execution, Victor is more concerned about himself. He says, "I believed in her innocence. I knew it. Could the demon who had I did not for a minute doubt murdered my brother, also in his hellish sport, have betrayed the innocent to death and ignominy? I could not sustain the horror of my situation, and when I perceived that the popular voice and the countenances of the judges had already condemned my unhappy victim, I rushed out of the court in agony. The tortures of the accused did not equal mine. She was sustained by innocence, but the fangs of remorse tore my bosom and would not forgo their hold." He remains silent and allows her to be executed. Victor claims to be morally superior to others, declaring, "During every hour of my infant life, I received a lesson of patience, of charity, and of self-control." Yet he shows no sign of charity or self-control. He creates a creature who he thinks will be beautiful according to his standards. When the creature turns out to be ugly and deformed, he abandons it disdainfully. He has no empathy for leaving his newborn creation alone in the world because it fails to live up to his standard of perfection. Victor displays what is known as splitting, which makes a person unable to see both the good and the bad in someone. They can only see one or the other. There is no gray area. Splitting is about idealization or devaluation. In splitting, a narcissistic person can only conceive of someone having all good qualities or all bad qualities. Victor had dreamed that his monster would be a perfect being with all good qualities. When the creature turns out to disappoint his idealized view of perfection, Victor then sees his creation only as a monster. His abandonment and lack of empathy toward his newborn creation causes the resentful creature to become the monster Victor assumed him to be. Victor and his monster reflect the myth of Narcissus and Echo. In that particular legend, Narcissus rejects Echo, and therefore Echo follows Narcissus around obsessively. In Frankenstein, Victor is Narcissus, having rejected the creature. The creature, therefore, is Echo, relentlessly stalking Victor in order to punish him for his rejection. Victor never accepts responsibility for his actions. His ego won't allow him to accept his role in the tragedies that occur during the course of the book. Victor and everyone he loves pays the price for his narcissism. The book portrays the monster's vengeful actions as the punishment for the sin of pride.